Welcome back, guys. In this video we will learn how to sew a bustier, a princess dart bustier. So if it's something you want to learn, please keep watching because I'll be cutting directly on my fabric. So let's get into the video. Now this is the fabric I'll be using, and what I'm doing is just getting my starting point line, and once I do that, I'm going to get my measurements. So from my starting point line, I'm going to get my chest line, I'll get my bust point, I'll get my underbust. So I'm getting my bust point first, and then I'll mark it, then I'll get my underbust, and then I'll get my waistline. I'm just going to connect these points with a straight line like this. So once you connect with your rule like this, you're going to get your shoulder. So I'll get my shoulder here, and then I'll mark my shoulder slope, and then from my shoulder slope I'll take my chest line. Okay, so take your appropriate measurements, I'll mark it, and then I'm just going to rule the straight line there. So what I have on my shoulder, I'll just bring it down there to create a straight line. This would help me curve my armhole. Right, so let's work on the dart. So on my waistline, I am going to do my bust band. So nipple to nipple of this measurement is 8 inches, but because I'm cutting on the fabric, I'm going to do half of it, which is 4 plus half inch allowance, that is 4.5, because we're cutting on the fabric. So I marked the same thing on my bust point, and I connected it with a straight line like this. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I'm just confirming all my measurements. So what I'm going to do now is to take my dart intake. So on my waist, I'm taking 1 inch on each size, and the same thing on my underbust. Now, so to know the appropriate dart intake to take, you can use the difference of your bust and your waist after dividing to get it. Okay, so let's continue. So I'm just going to connect my darts to my bust point. Remember, I always, if you watch my other bustier tutorials, I always come down from my bust point by half of an inch instead of connecting it directly. It helps me to eliminate the bulginess at the bust area. Okay, so the next thing is to create my armhole princess dart. So what I do is I'll get the midpoint of this armhole here, and what I have is 4. So what I did is mark the midpoint and then come down by 1 inch. Okay, so it means that I'm taking a dart of 1 inch. So what I also did at the bust point is I came up by half of an inch, and then I'm going to connect it as I am doing. So connect it to each of the darts that you marked, and on the lower dart there, I increased it by 1 inch. That is exactly the dart intake that we took, so that you will not have any shortage when joining. Okay, so increase it, because if you don't do that, you're going to have a shortage when joining. So what I did was just blended up every sharp area, just curved it out, and then I'm going to put my measurements. So on my chest line, I'm going to put my bust circumference divided by 4 plus my dart intake. Whatever dart I have on there is about 0.5. I added it, and then I added 1 inch to join the darts back, and then 1 inch to join the darts here, and then 2-inch seam allowance. I don't know if you understand what I mean. I'll go again. I did my bust circumference divided by 4 plus the dart intake that I removed, which is about 0.5 inches, 1 inch for joining it back, and then 2 inches seam allowance. And on my waist, I did my waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches dart intake. We took away 1 inch on each side of the dart. I added it back, and I added 1 inch to join the back, to join them back, and then 2 inches seam allowance. So whatever that you took, please, you're going to replace it, and then you're going to add 1 inch to join the dart back. This is because we are cutting on the fabric. Okay, so what I'm doing is to get my neck width, and by neck depth I did a neck width of 4 inches and a neck depth of 5 inches. This is preference, so you can twerk your neck to whatever shape you want. Okay, and I just added ½ inch on my shoulder slope, and then it's time to cut this out. I'm going to just cut everything out, and then we'll go on and draft for the back. Please, if you're watching up to this point and you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please click on the subscribe button. It is free. Like this video, share it, and please drop any comments in the comment section, your questions, and I'll answer them. All right, thank you so much for watching. So as you can see, I have cut it out, and this is what we have for the front. All right, now we'll cut the back. So I folded another fabric into two for the back, and then I marked my starting point there. And then if you notice on the folded part, I marked about 1.5 inch, and this is for the zipper allowance. So I marked it out, and then I'm going to take my waist measurements. I just marked my waist measurement, and then I'll rule a line. So make sure you mark your zipper allowance, and your measurement will start from that marked chalk. So I marked my shoulder, came down by 1 inch from my shoulder slope. Then from my shoulder slope, I marked my bust, or chest line, and then I just created this arc for my armhole, right? Then I'll do my neck width and my neck depth. Of course, the neck width should be the same thing with the front. Then the neck depth is as you wish, your preference as well. Mine is, I think, 1.5 inches lower instead of 5 inches that I did for the back. Okay, so now I'm going to take my bust span as well, which is 4.5. Remember, it is 4 inches ordinarily. ½ inch it's because of the joining, because we are cutting directly on the fabric. And then I'm going to take 9 inches from my shoulder, so that is where my dart is going to end. So I'm going to pinch on this dart. I'm going to pinch and sew. I'm not cutting anything off, so I'll just pinch and sew it. Okay, just a normal waist dart. So I'm just going to impute my measurements. I did my bust divided by 4 plus 2 inches. Then on my waist, my waist divided by 4 plus the dart of 2 inches. That of 1 inch. I took ½ inch on each side, and I added my seam allowance and connected. Okay, so I just going to add ½ inch on my shoulder like this, and that is all. I'm going to cut this out. Okay, so the back is basically a simple waist dart, right? So once I cut this out, there's one more thing I like to do to eliminate bulginess at the zipper area. Here at the back, I like to contour the back so that it doesn't have some folds once I am done, especially when I add a zipper at the back. Okay, so what I do, I'm going to slash the folded part area, because the back is supposed to be in two, because we'll be attaching a zipper. Now what I do to eliminate that pointiness is I mark about 0.25 or about ½ inch, depending on the side of the person, on the waist area, and then I connect it to the chest line like this, as you can see with the slant. Then I cut that off. So this helps to lay the back well. I also did do the same thing on the waistline. Okay, now I will do 0.25 there, mark it, and then I'll connect it to the other end like I am doing with the slant. just watch what I'm doing and you will understand. Okay, I'll cut this out. Now, because this is going to be a peplum will be fixed on this, I'm going to eliminate any bulginess at the back, especially on the zipper allowance. Okay, now I'm notching my darts as well, and that is all for the back. I go ahead and just cut the lining for each of this piece and just gum the interface and everything that needs to be gummed, the wording on the bust area of the front. Okay, this is the front. And for those of you that would notice that yeah, this is the front, and I just notched the zipper allowance of the back. And yeah, here I added my wording and I have joined it. This is the front, I've joined it already, and this is what it's looking like. Go ahead and, this is the back, and this is basically how I cut my princess darts bustier. And yeah, that is just it, guys. I hope this video was helpful. I don't want to be super long, so I just wanted to show you how I cut my bustier on my fabric, the easy way to cut it. And this is really beginners friendly and just straight to the point. I hope it was helpful. Please, if it was, just give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'm just going to continue sewing. I'll press all of this place and then I'll just continue sewing. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next one.